thought we would talk about the power struggle in the classroom. This is rather common in high school and middle school, and sometimes the lower, the earlier grades. But this was inspired by a movie we saw, and we're going to review later this week. And what I thought we'd do today, Jacob, is we would do a couple of scenarios.
Hmm.
I'll play the teacher, you play a student or two, and then we would kind of talk about what went wrong in this scenario. What did the teacher probably do wrong? What could they have done differently? You want to play?
Let's do it. Let's do it, buddy. People do say I have some acting chops. That's all I'm gonna say.
Crazy people say that. No. Okay.
Let's do this, mother.
And when I say scene, we start. Ready?
Okay.
And scene. James, can you read page 12, please?
No, I don't want to read.
Okay. Elizabeth, can you please read page 12?
No, I prefer not to read.
What do you mean you prefer? You should do what the teacher says. Have respect.
You didn't speak that way to James.
Never mind what I said to James. I'm the teacher. And scene. So, Jacob, what went wrong here?
Well, a couple things. One is I didn't think a class could show that there's not equality there because you laid into the second student, Elizabeth, more than you did with James. You also went to a place where I'm this and you're that. I'm the teacher and you're just a lowly student, right? And you just kept going with it. You went to an argument where you didn't have to go. So there you go.
Right, and this is a power struggle that is pretty needless, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I've seen this in real life.
And haven't we all made similar mistakes?
Yeah.
I've done this to an extent. Maybe you've done this. What's an alternative to that? So I say to the student, can you please read page 12? They say no. Then what? Oh no, we're stuck. Power struggle. What's an alternative? What should I do as a teacher?
This last week, a couple of kids didn't want to read because they did this sundown. They did this event at my school where the kids came to school at 5 o'clock in the morning, so the kids were wiped out throughout the day. So I'd ask them to read a couple things, and they didn't want to. I said, "Oh, okay. You guys look pretty tired. I'll go ahead and read. I'm gonna give you guys that break."
Problem solved.
Yeah. And I was a little bummed out that they were all tired out, but I thought they definitely have an excuse here. And even if they didn't, why fight with them? There's no reason to fight with them.
You just read.
You just read.
And be prepared. Be prepared for a student saying no.
Right.
And then you're going to be the one who reads because you'll have an opportunity for them to read one-on-one. I think you should always hear a student read if it's an assessment. But if it's in the class, some students don't want to. What's funny is this week I'm reading 12 Angry Men with the class, and
that's good.
It's really not. It's not the best scenario when you have to read all the characters. It is better when other students read.
Yeah, there's 12 different characters. Yeah.
But I was ready. Yeah, it's all these different jurors, and I was ready to read. But so many students, they really love the book, the play. They really are into it. So many students are volunteered. They wanted to play the different jurors. And I was like, oh, it's great.
That's a good problem.
Yeah. And so it worked out, but be ready.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't create that type of tension. Okay, let's do anything else you want to say on that?
No, I think you said it well. I mean, I think kids, you know what? Sometimes kids want to stir it up too, and I know that. And like, okay, I'm not going to stir it up with you today, buddy. I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that and just continue to go forward. Because if I dial, and then now I'm losing minutes. I always look at the classes. I'm losing minutes, and I don't want to lose minutes.
Okay, let's go to scenario 2. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Jackie Robinson was not only a great ball player, he was a hero in the civil rights movement.
Jackie, that's a girl's name.
Well, your name is Philip, right? Some people think that's a stupid name. See how that works? So back to what we were discussing.
Yikes.
Scene, and I forgot to say scene to start.
Yeah,
this
that's
one.
right. I just knew it was over.
So what's wrong with this scenario? What's wrong with this teacher's decision here?
Well, obviously, I mean, I always cringe when I hear the word stupid, um, to any child, to use that type of verbiage with them. And you just kind of, I think they're felt like, hey, you're not giving them any value. You're just pushing them aside without really addressing maybe they're, well, I'm not even sure if you do address it. I think something like a comment like that, sometimes I just go, okay, I just ignore it, just don't even respond to it. Because you're going to hear, I mean, yeah, you're going to hear things like that all the time. You just kind of ignore most of it.
I think you said the right thing. Sometimes you have to ignore and move on.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes it gets personal because we have a lesson and we really believe in it. I mean, you can imagine somebody talking about someone like Jackie Robinson, and it's a real personal hero of theirs, and it's meaningful, and you get a dumb comment. I just think it's a dumb comment.
It is.
That's why I'm trying to raise that scenario, and we take it personal. But should we take it so personal?
No.
No. And I like the idea of ignoring it and moving on, and class clowning. Okay, but if you step over their clowning and you just keep the lesson, keep it pushing, you could win. And sometimes you might take on the joke against yourself. You might make a self-effacing joke. Sometimes I do this. So I might say something like, you think that's a dumb name? My name is dumb to some people. My name is Ruben. Trust me, you don't want to name somebody after a sandwich. Anyway, let's move on. And you take the joke on yourself.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And then you kind of, you don't want to make the student, you don't want to call out the student and make them look dumb.
And I would you say, Ruben, that usually like new, and I hate to say younger because it's not always younger, it's just teachers who are new sometimes just haven't been used to that type of scenario, so they'll take it, they'll keep going, they'll keep engaging when they should be just diffusing. And that is just something I think you learn in practice, because like you said before, we've all made these mistakes, but after you make it a couple of times, you go, you know what, I'm not going to engage here, I'm going to stop engaging.
Yes.
And
absolutely, because when you engage and there's a back and forth, you find yourself sometimes having your day ruined because the tension rises and your blood, your blood rate rises. And so I remember the days just driving home and I feel tense because I got split with a student. It's like, it's not worth it. Just cut it off. And so
I get real sensitive too, because if they say a comment like gordo or something, it gets a little sensitive for me. That's just one, I don't
do students do that?
No, like back in the day, like if
back in the day, they don't do that now.
No, I mean, no one's ever called me gordo like recently, but like a few years ago, when that was shared to me, it hurt my feelings, or
so what do you do?
Sometimes they say things, I kind of go inside myself. I feel a little hurt. I mean, today I would just ignore it, but I'm trying to remember like the last time somebody said a name to me and it hurt my feelings. Yeah. And I just kind of like took it. But I remember times engaging though. What do you mean? Why you call me? But that's, there's no point to it. No one's going to win.
I'm trying to remember a student saying something that actually offended me. Because I guess I've been called gordo too, and old man. I don't know. Like I'm trying to recall, and I think I try to just lean into it and just
play with it.
And I'm getting bigger by the day. Or you're right. Good point. I don't know. I think it helps to have a self-effacing sense of humor,
for sure,
so that you kind of let the air out of the tire of their joke. You lean into it, sometimes it works.
Oh, it does.
Okay, so here's a scenario that that is really common, I think, in all grades, and that is when you have something you're presenting, whether you're you're giving some kind of lecture, or maybe students are up, or something is happening in the front of the class, and you have two students talking. Jenny, please stop talking. Jenny, stop talking. You're talking again. And it just keeps happening. So, Jacob, what do you do?
I mean, you do a couple things. I mean, like I think we talked about this in a previous episode regarding classroom management. A lot of times what I do is if they're talking, I just kind of start walking towards them, just standing there. I'm giving my lesson, and I don't usually even address them. I won't even say like, "Oh, stop talking." I'll just stand there and just like, and for younger levels, I mean, I remember Sonia mentioning our past guest last week that she doesn't even looks at them, you know. And those are little strategies you could use to make sure the class gets back to where you want it to be, you know, back into the lesson. But that's something I've done in the past, where instead of just arguing with them, like, stop talking. Or sometimes I just stop talking myself. I just keep quiet. And the kids don't like it when it's just when you're not talking and you're just looking, and it just gets a little eerie, and then they just naturally stop talking.
I think if you have habitual talkers,
Mhm.
There's a temptation to move them right then and there.
Yeah.
But I would try not to do that,
I
because
wasn't bring
what
that
ends
up, Ruben,
what
but I
ends up
think
happening is that if you do that right then and there, it can create a power struggle where a student will maybe talk back at you, or just, it creates something that you don't want. I would do it later. And maybe I was going to agree with you. You move towards them and just stand in between them and never stop the lesson. Because like you say earlier, you lose time when you stop it. Hey, stop talking.
or even if you move them, that takes time. So my first thought was to move them. I said, no, not, because kids talk, so you don't be moving all the time. And sometimes they you're just gonna move them to another situation where they're talking. So might as well do things like that, like you shared, to stand right in between the two kids and then just continue the lesson.
Yes. So I've said this in other videos that I think to verbalize the behavior can create more problems. But you keep the standard. That's what you're saying. Sometimes students say things and stop working and create problems because they don't understand what's going on. So that's why you address the standard, because sometimes they just want to know what's happening and they're trying to avoid the lesson.
Yeah.
Do you understand what you're doing? This is what we're trying to do. Can I help you? And then the behavior ceases or reduces. So, well, thank you for joining us. Any last word on this, Jacob? Or
No, I think it's great. I think this is real deal. This is everyday teaching, and you're going to have this, and sometimes we fail, sometimes we make mistakes, but not to beat ourselves up and say, okay, next time, I mean, it's going to happen. So be ready for it. And it's good to have this in your back pocket.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.